Can you guys hear me? How about now? I think you can. I'm sorry. Hi. Hello, everyone. Hello. Okay, so we just learned something. My new headset apparently doesn't work, I guess. I don't know. It doesn't work with, now you can? Okay, yes, now you can. Yes, yes. Okay, thank you. Sorry. Yes, I was talking. I was having a whole story time. So apparently my headset that is wireless, whatever, I can't use it with my mic. I don't know. So that's interesting. That's interesting to know. Okay. As long as you can hear me, does it sound okay? I'm hoping. I don't know. I just kind of threw it in real quick, so hopefully it's all right. Hi again, Nicole and Princess. Shay Shay, hello. How are you tonight? And Intuitive, hello, hello. Good evening. I saw Jeffrey as well. B Tim, hello. Definitely was muted, that's for sure. Not on purpose though. Oh my goodness. True answer to the meaning of life, and we're all missed that. That's exactly what I did. Now you'll never know. Listening in, but I'm silent. Yeah. Hi, how are you? Hi, be at peace. Nice to see you. Everybody's on hold. Yes. Once I saw like the mute, I'm like, oh, please hold just a second. And prior to that, it took even longer because I told you guys I was half getting dressed. I was putting on like clothes because I got to run an errand. So it's not going to be a long stream at all because I got to get somewhere before they end up closing. So we'll see how I do at that. Probably not very good, but it's what I need to do. So I got to try to do it. But I hope that you all had a good day today. And, what's going on here? Here we go. Since Camilo, hello. Hi. Nice to see you. Sorry about that. Wireless headsets are terrible. I tried on my live and they fail. Yeah, why? What the heck was the problem? That's so weird. I sound great. Okay, good. It is pretty messed up. Let me bring you guys to it. I'll show you what that's about. So we'll start off with showing you this one. And then I have other stuff on Indigenous, and I'll show you that too. Okay. So, search for missing native artifacts led to the discovery of bodies stored in the most inhumane way possible. What started as a search for artifacts once on display at the University of North Dakota Library resulted in the discovery of remains in cardboard boxes and sparked a reckoning. Could you imagine? Like, my gosh, awful. Sorry, I took a drink. I am definitely a fellow procrastinator for sure. That is definitely who I am. Absolutely. I absolutely am. I waited all day and then I come on now. Okay, so last winter, University of North Dakota English professor Crystal Alberts started searching for missing pipe, a headdress, and moccasins once on display at the school's library. Heading deep into the recesses of the nearly 140 years old campus, the collection was removed from the library in 1988 after students questioned whether the university should be showcasing objects of religious significance to Native Americans. Alberts, a colleague, and her assistant searched in back rooms and storage closets, opening unmarked cardboard boxes. Inside one of them, Albert spotted the pipe. The assistant reached for it, and she said, quote, "Don't touch it," Alberts recalls saying. She called Lane Lyons, a member of the Turtle Mountain Band of Chippewa Indians, who works for the Alumni Association and Foundation and asked for help. Lyons met with Alberts to offer advice on how to respectfully handle the items. Watching as Alberts and her colleagues opened box after box, Lyons said that she now feels naive thinking back on it, but she never expected what they found. More than 70 samples of human remains, many of them in boxes with no identifying information. The best way that I can describe how we have found things is in the most inhumane way possible, Lyons said. Just completely disregarded that these were once people. Hi, Sleuth Mom. How are you? Good evening. She said it sunk in. Her university had failed to treat Native American remains with dignity and I forget how to say that one. Repatriate? I don't know. I'm done. I'm not even going to try it. Them to tribes as required by federal law. In that moment, she said, we were another institution that didn't do the right thing. Yeah, definitely. Definitely did not do the right thing. Absolutely not. She's beautiful, by the way. This is the Laney or Lane. I had a friend named Laney that spelled it that way though. Lyons. This is her. As soon as the bodies were discovered, the UND president Andrew Armacost said administrators reached out to tribes, at first a half a dozen and now 13, to start the process of returning the remains and more than 100 religious objects. Quote, what we've done as a university is terrible, and I will continue to apologize for it, Armacost said in a Wednesday news conference, where he vowed to see every item an ancestor found to be returned to the proper tribal nation. How terrible. I mean, like, to reach in to a box, like thinking you're looking for artifacts and you find human remains, that would be awful in itself. But to know that they're Indigenous people, again, for what? Like, why is that? Why is it that, and I don't know the history. I don't know if maybe any of you do, if you know the history, that they, for a period of time, only had Indigenous people attending. I don't know if that is true. If they had all different across the board, but only Native Americans ended up inside of cardboard boxes with some of their other significant, objects and things that they treasured, things that were related to them, end up in a box. That's insane. Hi, Johnny. How are you? This makes me so angry even after in death the Indigenous people are desecrated. Absolutely. Yes, I agree with you. I completely agree. It's awful. It's awful how you couldn't just treat everybody with dignity. And especially knowing how important it is. I mean, listen, we all care about laying our loved ones to rest. We all care. But I had an argument with my own brother one time that he was, I don't know, being a privileged white man at the time during this conversation. He was being extremely privileged in his nasty statements that he was making. That was horrendous. And he was talking how if it weren't for the white man and it wasn't for our government, that Native Americans would still be cavemen, that would still be scraping their rocks together, scraping their what did he say, their sticks and rocks together, and that they would have never evolved, that they would just sit in in their ways and never evolve at all. And he was going on and on and on and on, like horrifically. Well, he tried saying, getting an attitude, thinking it was going to be like a haha gotcha moment to me. He said, you do realize that any day we could wake up in our property, meaning my family's property, where my dad still lives and whatnot. And we've got a farm down there and everything. He goes, you do realize that they could take our property. They could take our land. And I said, take it. It was theirs first. They should be able to have it back if they want it back. I wouldn't be one bit upset. And I'm like, don't you understand? I'm like, how does that make you feel? Like, my brother got so upset about his years on that land, our family's years, right? The farm and the years spent with our bloodline on that land. And he felt connected to the land because of it and felt angry and aggressive about the fact that any day, if they decide that they want that land, they can have it. And he was angry about it. And I'm like, you see how angry you are right now? I go, yeah, that was theirs. And I said, and they have their loved ones buried there. Like, we at least, have cemeteries that have our loved ones, a location. And even so, there's even cemeteries that they didn't move when they built on top of the cemetery area. They never moved the bodies. I think I read that to you guys. I'm pretty positive I showed that to you guys. They didn't move the bodies. Maybe I didn't. I was going to. But they did not take the bodies of the deceased and properly take them out and move them to a new location. They instead built on top of them. And this was it was at one point considered like a cemetery, right? It was known that there was people there, and they still chose to do it anyway. They just didn't look like the white man cities. Not so. Natives had entire cities and elaborate governments when the white man got here. Well, and it's kind of funny to me, like, they can do it just as good, if not better than us. Like, look at the casinos that they own. Look how successful. Look at the amount of money. Like, he's like, oh, well, they would have never, built. And I mean, I was never more irritated with my brother than that conversation. That was the most disgusted, and the time in which I'm just like, you make me sick. Like, you make me sick to hear the things that you're saying right now. And especially since we may have Native American in our bloodline. And he still had that opinion. I was so infuriated. I was so mad. But yeah, so to know how disrespectful, we have been with just their tradition of how they did things, right? It's extremely important. Their burials, their tradition of how they go about the burial, the whole ceremony, and it's really, really important to them. And we just like crapped all over it. And then now we're finding out that they're putting, hey, Faith in Humanity, how are you? And now we find out that they're putting them in cardboard boxes. And then you've got the little ones up at the residential schools that were being buried underneath the school, underneath the residential schools, right? And you find out there's 4,000 of them. 4,000 little children that for whatever reason, right? Even if for whatever reason, passed away while they were at that residential school. That's not even with the knowing that they were severely abused, and their punishments were abusive, were painful, and possibly led to death, because there are students now, they're grown up, talk about what happened to them while they were at that school, the residential school, and that they would see somebody get in trouble and they would leave the classroom and they would never come back again. They never saw them another day again after that. And now they're older. Now they've learned and discovered about the children that were buried under the school, and realized that what may have actually happened, right? It's not that they went back home, back to their family. It's not like they got moved to a different, no, like they likely lost their life over some discipline, some form of discipline. There's no way the US government would ever allow natives to recover their land, some of us buy land back under a corporate name, though. Yeah, so it's true. It would be the casino, because of the fact that the casino, ours, out here, they have an agreement, and the agreement is with the state that they can have 13 different counties that they can ultimately build on, and then a portion of the profit that comes in from whatever that is, tends to be a casino, they have to give to the state. So the state will allow them the land to build on, as long as they get, that certain percentage of the earnings from it to the state. And with that agreement, we are one of the 13 counties. And so that's what he meant by, like, at any moment they could take the land, right? So yeah, he was referring to that. And either way, I was just like, okay, well, but what you're saying, yeah, absolutely true. Absolutely true. They did that here in my city. They put a parking lot over the cemetery and just relocated the headstones. Yes, Nicole. Yes, that's exactly it. It was the thing I was going to show you guys. It was a loved one that was searching for their deceased loved one and trying to relocate them. There was a situation where they were going to need to, pull them out, and anyway, it was empty. It was an empty, completely empty grave. And that's when they realized that they were not actually moved from the location, and that they had been built right over the top of them. If I can find it again for you guys, I will definitely show it. It's hard for non-natives to understand because history has been told from the point of view of the victors. Right. It's very true. It's very true. They move cemeteries fairly frequently. Genocide of people. Yeah. Yep. I'm mixed and have lived in both communities, so I understand both sides. But people who haven't had that privilege don't always understand. Yeah. The disrespect is disgraceful. I agree. So much haunted places because of this. Yeah, I know that a reason that is suspected that the road that I grew up on. Well, I didn't spend all my years growing up on it. Uh-oh, my cat's gonna start meowing. Sorry, everybody. She is still in heat and still doing the meows. I'll shut the door so it's not as loud, but you'll still hear it, I'm sure. I'm sorry about that. But yes, the road that my family's on right now, and up the hill, that whole area there, all of the people that live in the houses have all discussed haunting of some sort, right? That they feel that their place is haunted. They have had awful encounters and situations that have happened, and they claim for sure it's definitely haunted. And then that's where you get into, like, are they on tribal land? And right, then it only makes it more interesting for me personally, because then I'm like, right, so exactly, do I have native in my blood? Which I know I could check, but I get weird about that. I'm so weird about putting myself into the system but I don't know, they probably already know everything anyway, right? They probably already know everything. Here, let me show you this. You guys aren't even on a full screen. Well, this is really big, I think, so you'll see it. Okay, so sorry about that. So, National Day for Truth and Reconciliation. Each year, September 30th. This started, this hasn't been going on forever. They tried to pass it back in 2018. Is that what I have on here? Proposed national holiday passes third reading in House of Commons, headed to state. This was 2019, March of 2019. And if all goes to plan, Canadians will have a new statutory holiday to commemorate and learn about the atrocities of the residential school system. So, each year, September 30th, okay. The day honors the children who never returned home, survivors of residential schools, as well as their families and communities. Public commemoration of the tragic and painful history and ongoing impacts of residential schools is a vital component of the reconciliation process. This federal statutory holiday was created through legislative amendments made by Parliament. So you wear orange. Both the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation and Orange Shirt Day take place on September 30th. Orange Shirt Day is an Indigenous-led grassroots commemorative day intended to raise awareness of the individual, family, and community intergenerational impacts of residential schools and to promote the concepts of every child matters. The orange shirt is a symbol of the stripping away of culture, freedom, and self-esteem experienced by Indigenous children over generations. On September 30th, we encourage all Canadians to wear orange to honor the thousands of survivors of residential schools. Commemorating the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation across the country, hundreds of local activities are taking place that commemorate the history and legacy of residential schools. And they are illuminating Parliament Hill to commemorate the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation and to honor the survivors, their families and communities. Buildings across Canada will be illuminated in orange from September 30th at 7 p.m. to sunrise October 1st. This will include federal buildings such as the Peace Tower on Parliament Hill. Remembering the children. A 1-hour national commemorative gathering will be broadcast live from Ottawa's Le Breton Flats on September 30th, 2022. Check your local listing, Truth and Reconciliation Week. This bilingual and educational program is open to all schools across Canada. All sessions will be held virtually, allowing classroom participation from across the country and the involvement of Indigenous and non-Indigenous students from September 26th through 30th. And Orange Shirt Day events, right? So there were 140 federally run residential schools in Canada that operated between 1831 and 1998. The last school closed less than 25 years ago. That's crazy. That's crazy. Hey, Grandma Sherry, how are you? To know that if you're 25 or older, this was happening during your lifetime, which is insane to think about. Everyone thinks like, oh, that was in the past. It was so long ago. No, it was not long ago. It was not. I'm over the age of 25. If I lived in Canada and I was Indigenous, to know that it could have been me. It's just like, I don't know. I just put myself in those shoes and I hate it. I hate it for the family. I think of if I were older and I was the parent that was having my children stripped away from me. Right? Survivors advocated for recognition in reparations, demanded accountability for the intergenerational impacts of harms caused. Their efforts culminated in the Indian Residential School Settlement Agreement, apologies by the government, the establishment of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, the creation of National Center for Truth and Reconciliation. The Truth and Reconciliation Commission ran from 2008 to 2015 and provided those directly or indirectly affected by the legacy of the residential school policy with an opportunity to share their story and experience. The commission released its final report detailing 94 calls to action. The National Day for Truth and Reconciliation is a direct response to call to action 80, which called for a federal statutory day of commemoration. Has a permanent archive for statements, documents, materials, commission gathered to learn more. Diverse culture, voices, experience, stories of the First Nations. Read, listen, watch, or try your learning journey today. And it's like a whole bunch of information on it, right? So, because I had heard that September, had something to do with, right, basically awareness of Indigenous people and awareness of I believe the murdered and missing, and so I wanted to look it up. I'm like, wait, what's September? What's happening in September? Like, because I thought it was the whole month, right? And I'm like, wait, and anyway, I fell into this, and to see that they now have that as a day, it's one more. Now, I don't know that anybody, it doesn't seem as though it would be, it said federally, did it say it would be? No, maybe it didn't. Because I'm trying to think, I don't know if that would be considered like a day that anything would be closed down, right? I don't know. I don't know that that would be the case. I don't think so. Technically, I don't think it would be. Yeah, I'm looking at this other page here. It's the 3 people. Here's a picture of a residential school right here. I can show you what this looks like. One of the pictures. It's in black and white though. This is the one that this guy. No. Lawrence, yeah. This man Lawrence lived at this hall when he was going to residential school. This is where he went. Huh. This is 1987. Which, how should the holiday be? Wow. So yeah, it was proposed and it was passed. So that's great. I want to show you guys something though. The what's being done. Not that one. This one. Okay. We got some bad news about it. And awareness. So let me show you the awareness first. Let me refresh this and bring you over to it. My cat's saying hello to everybody, by the way. Okay. Play this one for you.
After decades of neglect, murdered and missing women and Indigenous people are seeing movement in raising awareness. The newly formed Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women and People Task Force is in charge of coming up with policies to address the urgent crisis of Indigenous people who go missing, are victims of homicide, or experience other types of gender violence. One of the biggest roadblocks has been working with various law enforcement agencies across jurisdictions. During a task force meeting today, members said statewide programs are being developed to provide better police training across multiple agencies.
There is immediate action that's coming about, specifically due to family input and survivor input. It's having immediate action on not just this task force, but through our recommendations throughout the state government.
The task force will next meet again in December in Puyallup.
I've been waiting for it because I knew this thing would be crazy.
So that was one. So that's trying to raise awareness and change policy, right, for the missing. And then this is bad news. This one is bad news. What's really bad news too about it is they don't have pictures. That's really bad news. Let me take you back here.
Hoping they're able to find something for that family soon. There are other families like Lucian's who have faced that nightmare, waiting for their children to come home. Across the state of Washington right now, there are currently 49 actively missing children. Some have been missing for decades. Reporter Kirstia Sheffield joins us in studio after taking a deep dive into those numbers and those stories. Kirstia, how many children from the Yakima area are missing?
Well, Jake, according to the Washington State Patrol, there are 17 children, including Lucian, who are missing from Yakima. The first two I'll show you are missing from the city of Yakima, both age 15, and both have gone missing in the past 6 months. This is Sydney Hartley, who police say has been missing since April 9th of this year. And this is Talon Goggles Obendorf, who was last seen on August 25th. But even though it's a tragedy that any child of any race goes missing from their homes and families, it's still very clear Indigenous children go missing at a much higher rate here in Yakima. Of the 49 Indigenous children that are missing across the state, 14 children are missing from the county and the Yakima Reservation. 11 of those children have gone missing in this year, the youngest being just 8 years old. Here's a list of their names and the date they went missing. No pictures were attached to any of these names. And if you have any information on where any of these children could be, you're asked to contact Yakima Police, Yakima Tribal Police, or the Washington State Patrol Missing Persons Unit.
And of course, we'll have that info online. Of course, that list painfully long. Thank you very much, Kirstia.
And could be any of these
Yeah,
names.
look at that.
No pictures.
No pictures for all of these. 14-year-old, 13, 18, 13, 16, 18. 12-year-old, 8-year-old. The 8-year-old went missing, Casper went missing May of this year. What is it? Sutter Licht? Let's see. Casper Sutter Licht. Came up the thing that we're on right now. More than a dozen children are missing from Yakima. Latest list of cases of missing Indigenous people. That was July of 2022. And then May. Missing Native American person, 516. This might be one. This might be able to. Wow. Holy guacamole. Look at this. Take a look at this. So I typed in his name. Came up with this. Washington State Patrol, right? But if you see Washington State Patrol missing Native American person as of 5/16/22. So it says whether it's county sheriff office, police department, or the tribal police department. Okay, but look at this list though. You've got this list that's already like crazy. You got a second one. You got a third one. Fourth one. That's insane. Wow. It just says 132 currently missing as of May 16th, 2022. Found. They have found 3 adult females, it's 6 adult males, 21 juvenile females, and 9 males juvenile. But for missing, you've got for adults 36 female, 40 male, and for juvenile you've got 35 and 21 males, a total of 132. 9% increase from the last report, which was on May 2nd. So a 9% increase happened over the course of 14 days. Wow. That's insane. That's crazy. And that's all that there is to it, though. all you could see is their name, right? And then it'll tell you their age, the date that they went missing, what type of missing they are. So juvenile, endangered, other is on there, involuntary. Involuntary. Huh. It's an interesting way of... Okay. Then the reporting agency, case number, and contact number. But no, there's no pictures attached to any of this. Like, what is this? Casper is not the only... Okay, look at this. Can I highlight this? I can. See Casper Sutterlicht that I searched? Has he been taken by his parents? What am I seeing right now? Look at that. So you've got Angel Sutterlicht above him and Justin Sutterlicht below him. And the ages of the female is 36, the male is 37, and all three of them have the same date that they went missing. So you've got, I don't know, 2 adults, and at the time he was 7. He must have just turned 8 for him to be 8 years old now, but that's strange. That's really kind of strange. And that's all Yakima. The same phone number. Huh. Hey, Hope. Yes, he is. Lucian, yeah. I'm about to talk about him too. Is the 4-year-old possibly indigenous? Maybe that's what they only looked for a few hours, for 2 days. I believe that he is. I have seen a picture, and it looks like his dad might be. I don't know what it did, the picture. Actually, they might show it in one of these segments. So let me bring you to one of these here. And you might end up seeing the family, his family. If not, I'm going to find it for you. And I'll show you. But yes, that is something that's been on my mind, wondering if that's part of why they were so quick with the search before pulling out and allowing the family to their own devices on that.
The family of 2-year-old Aries Muse say the last 24 hours.
That's Aries, which we do want to talk about. So let's talk about Aries. He's just got this one segment, I think. Yeah, let's play Aries, and then I'll go to Lucian.
The family of 2-year-old Aries Muse say the last 24 hours have been heart-wrenching. While they aren't ready to talk on camera yet, his grandma wanted to share.
Actually, it was Aries that I saw the parents of. Might have been him that I saw the parents of.
Her memories of Aries with all of you. Grandma or Gamma of 2-year-old Aries Muse walking KOCO through the best times with her grandson, sharing this picture of Aries' dad, Nikita, holding him the day he was born. His dad reported Aries missing Monday after he woke up and realized his toddler was missing from their bed. 12 hours later, the 2-year-old's body found half a mile away. Now the family left to cherish pictures of Aries like this one, Gamma giving him his very first bath, or this one, Aries standing in his crib and getting his very first big boy bed. Gamma says Aries loved helping Dad out on his motorcycle and getting his hands dirty dyeing Easter eggs. She says this is the very last time Papa got to hug his grandson. The picture taken at the Woody Guthrie Folk Festival this past July. Gamma says Aries was the family's pride and joy. We still don't know what happened to Aries. At this point, investigators will not call this a criminal investigation. In our communication today, Aries' grandmother didn't want to comment at all on the death, just wanted to share Aries' story.
Yeah, that one's sad right there too. That one's really sad. I had seen Do I have it up anymore? No, I don't know where it went. This weekend. Where they said that, I'm surprised that I deleted it. I did it by accident, though. They're waiting for the autopsy information to come back before they decide whether it's going to be a criminal investigation, is what I read earlier. Which is kind of a little bit telling, I think. You wouldn't say that if you didn't suspect it, right? There's something about the way that they found him, where they found him, the story that was given about how he was in bed and then wasn't. Something has got them to the point that they're not wanting to publicly say what kind of investigation it is, but that when the autopsy comes back, then they will determine from there whether to call it a criminal investigation. There was a GoFundMe set up for him, and I don't know. Let's look. GoFundMe, the family of 2-year-old boy who was found dead hours after disappearing from his home, have set up a GoFundMe to cover his funeral cost. According to the fundraiser, he was a sweet boy who was about to turn 3 years old. He loved his mom, dad, and sister very much and was a second son to his aunt. The hole that this has left in our hearts will never be filled. The fundraiser organizer, Brandy Gather, said. I don't know. They haven't been saying really any names, right? So I don't know. I don't know, but I am going to drop it. And then that way, if you guys want to take a look at it, or if you guys want to donate, you will have access to it in an easier way. So let me drop that for you guys. But it's always worth taking a look at these to see who is running them, right? And then where the money's going to go, because now I lost it. What did I do with it? I just gave it to you guys. I'm like, but where did I leave it? But it's always worth taking that. Oh, it's right there. All it says is the organizer. It doesn't say, like, much more. Yeah, I don't know. Like, normally it says the organizer, and then it says who the person is that's going to be receiving the funds, right? Doesn't have that on here. But you can contact that Brandy person personally, too. Okay. So let me show you what we were going to talk about, too, here. And by the way, it is Lucian's parents that I had seen. Once I saw the dad for Aries, it's definitely was Lucian's. He's got his mom has blonde hair. If they show them.
It's a race against the clock for finding 4-year-old Lucian Munguia, who was last seen Saturday night at the playground of Sarge Hubbard Park. Today, deputies tell us they've been extensively searching and still no signs of Lucian. Reporter Kirsty Sheffield joins us live from the command post at Sarge Hubbard.
This video is from, I think, the last day that they were searching.
Park. Kirsty, what can you tell us?
Well, Alexandria, as you can see behind me, there is pretty much nothing left. There was a lot of commotion here earlier. Sheriff's office was here, but they have since left, and we have been informed that the search has stopped. They said that they have searched as far south as they can go, and they spent most of today searching up north, but came to the conclusion that they are done with the search. So we have his mom in the back saying we need community's help at this point. And they are asking community members to come and meet them at Sarge Hubbard Park to help volunteer because sheriff's office is done.
We want to be as thorough as possible. We're getting down to the point where we really don't have a lot more to search, unfortunately.
It's been nearly 3 days since 4-year-old Lucian was last seen near Sarge Hubbard Park wearing blue shorts and a blue shirt with a shark on it Saturday night. And since family called the police 15 minutes after they frantically looked everywhere for their son, the efforts on law enforcement's end since that night have been so extensive to the point that they're having to dial back on some resources.
We've pretty much exhausted our previous search areas to the point where this is probably the most heavily searched areas that I've seen in all the searches that I've done.
According to the search and rescue team, there have been more than 150 people involved in the search, including the U.S. Air Force and other departments from neighboring counties. They've used 15 search dogs, ATVs, boats, helicopters, and underwater drones.
We have found 0 leads at this point, no footprints, absolutely nothing. I mean, this place has been very densely packed with people, and we have not found one single clue.
But Lieutenant Cameron, who's a part of the search and rescue team, says it's been a difficult search. They've had to deal with some homeless individuals throwing rocks, yelling and screaming at searchers to leave, and because of that, nighttime searches have come to a halt.
And it gets really dangerous with the homeless people, and there's been a lot of cougar sightings out in the area and in the dense brush. We don't want anybody getting hurt.
Again, just wanted to mention that the sheriff's office and Yakima Police Department have decided that they will no longer be helping in the search of Lucian, and the mom is pleading and asking community members to come to Sarge Hubbard Park to help them bring Lucian home. They will be here for the rest of the night every day until they bring him home. So they're asking and pleading anyone that can to please come and help them out. Back to you, Alexandria.
Thank you, Kirstia. And as a reminder, that search is happening at Sarge.
We're hoping they're able to find something for that family soon. There are other families like Lucian's.
Yeah. So, it's pretty crazy. Let me show you this one. This is today. It's a really quick segment on it. I believe it's pretty quick, but this is from today. Yeah, 36 seconds of it.
This is Emily Goodell reporting for Cap KView. The search for 4-year-old Lucian continues this morning, Thursday, after more than 4 days of the little boy being missing. Volunteers are coordinating this morning, setting a plan for the day to figure out how they can expand the search to better look for 4-year-old missing Lucian. The family has taken over the search at this point and are still accepting volunteers and any help they can get. We'll continue to keep you updated on this story as we learn more at yaktrinews.com. Reporting in Yakima, Emily Goodell, Cap KView, Local News.
How sad is that? Right? Ugh. So sad. So sad. Ay. Let me look at, where was their post? Right. Not that one. Right there. No. I do know that there's a bit of an issue going on with like a page, I guess on I don't know, the Facebook page for him. It's a bit strange. I guess like one of them, they want one of the Facebook groups shut down. The family does. I guess they were advised to have it shut down, supposedly. It's what it said. When we asked them to do so politely, they agreed. Says, we asked the Facebook group to take down their page because we had an expert in search and rescue come and talk to the family this morning. He suggested that we create our own page so we can get tips and report directly to the family rather than lost in comments. So I don't know. There's a lot of people that think that they're now not supposed to. I don't know about that. I know that it says upcoming event that there's going to be a candlelight prayer for him tonight here. Not here, but at 11 p.m. it says EDT. So I'm assuming that's their time, I guess. And that's an upcoming event that's happening. Event by Patricia Byers. So that's supposed to be occurring. Facebook Live, it says. So if that's the case, I'll come back on and I'll show you guys. I can always pop back on. However, I do have to let you guys go because I have to try to run an errand before this place closes, and I'm really pushing it on time. Hey, Neil, how are you? So I will let you guys go, but I just wanted to make sure that what was the question? Did the sheriff hand the case over to a larger county? No. Well, now they've, was it them that kept switching the lead on who had it? I believe it was them that kept switching. Okay, go, go, go. All right, I'm going to go, go, go. I will talk to you guys either later on tonight. If that comes on, I'll pop back on for you guys. But I'll definitely be back tomorrow. Thank you for coming, everyone. I appreciate you. I hope that you all have an awesome night or day, depending where you are. And I will talk to you all very soon. Good night, guys. Guys.
Oh, so you're gonna send it to us. yeah, we never received anything.
No. Okay. Alrighty. All right. That.
Yeah, just check in with them tomorrow then.
Okay. Alrighty. Okay, I'm actually not going anywhere, but that's still all right. I'll still say goodnight. I'll still let you guys go, but I'm actually not going anywhere. But have a good night, everybody. Bye.